In this video, we will introduce the federal sentencing guidelines. Let's say a defendant is convicted. He's found guilty in federal court. Now the judge must decide sentencing, what punishment to impose on the defendant. To determine the correct sentence, the judge will need to consult the federal sentencing guidelines. So what are the federal sentencing guidelines? Remember, there are a number of federal courts all over the country, but these courts are part of a single court system, the federal court system. And because these courts are part of the same court system, if we have a federal court sentencing a defendant to, say, 5 years in prison in one part of the country, we would expect that a federal court in another part of the country would impose a similar sentence for an identical crime. So the goal of the federal sentencing guidelines is to promote uniformity among federal courts when a defendant is sentenced in a federal court. When a judge sentences a defendant in federal court, the judge will be guided by two major components of the federal sentencing guidelines. First, the judge will look at the base offense level and any specific offense characteristics. Second, the judge will look at any required adjustments. So let's look first at what the federal sentencing guidelines mean by base offense level and specific offense characteristics. The federal sentencing guidelines assigns every crime a base level of 1 to 43. The higher the level, the more serious the crime. The first thing the judge needs to do is calculate the base offense level. And we'll say in our story, the defendant was convicted of robbery, and that should give us a base offense level of 20. But during the robbery, the defendant brandished a gun. He displayed a gun. Brandishing a firearm is a specific offense characteristic, and that's going to make the base level more serious. That specific offense characteristic adds 5 levels to our base level. So now, this robbery is a level 25 offense. So now when the judge imposes the sentence, he's going to start with a level 25 offense, but the calculation doesn't end there. The judge also needs to look at potential adjustments. And these adjustments can include aggravating circumstances, which will make the sentence more severe, or mitigating circumstances. That would make the sentence less severe. So by way of example, if this defendant had previously been convicted of other crimes, if there are prior convictions, that would be an aggravating circumstance, and the sentence would likely be increased. On the other hand, if there were no prior convictions, or maybe the defendant was pressured to commit the crime, he committed the crime under duress, those mitigating circumstances would likely guide the judge to impose a less severe sentence. To summarize, the federal sentencing guidelines promote uniform sentencing among the federal courts. Every federal crime is assigned a base offense level from 1 to 43, and the more serious the crime, the more strict the sentence. Courts will then adjust the sentence depending on factors that might require a more severe punishment or a less severe punishment.